September 12th, down to Commissioner Board meeting. Make an addition to the agenda. A motion that we add to the agenda is line item number 14. Discussion on ABC distribution. Money between us and the county. Motion.
Make that motion.
Have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the like sign, the motion carries. I motion to approve the agenda. Have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the like sign, the motion carries. Got a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. All opposed, the like sign, the motion carries. Next on the agenda is public comments. Are these people signed up for public comments or signed up for the public hearing? Public hearing. So we have no one signed up for public comment. Okay. So moving on to reports, mayor's report. Fill you in on why we added the item to the agenda. I went to meet with county commissioners last week. Their work session. Got a consensus of the board. They will vote to agree to change the formula for ABC distribution from 60-40 to 50-50 for the next 5 years. That'll mean an extra $100,000 without suit. So that's what I spent my time this week working on for the time. Mark?
Yeah, I'd like to report a couple of things. On Monday or Tuesday, I think it was, I met with Jake and went up and seen the new material going down, the rubber material at Bryson Park. If anybody hadn't been up there and seen it, I want to give it Jake and go see it. It's pretty sweet. It's really nice. I think will be a big, huge benefit for that area for the kids' park. Also, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out to the Matt Stillwell concert. We had a very, very, very good productive night. We raised over $4,000 in donations as well as a van load of food. That's going to help United Christian Ministries continue helping the homeless in need. And that's about all I have.
Good evening, everybody. Excuse me. Commissioner Walter and I are still looking at how we're going to approach downtown, cables and conduits. We're still working on that. And Frontier is already located by the whole cables already. Yeah. Let's do it.
Well,
Nothing today.
okay. Okay. That's covered us all. That moves us on to the public hearing. Entertain a motion that we open the public hearing.
Have a motion.
Have a motion. We have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All opposed, by like sign, the motion carries. One word of instruction. I'll call you off as you signed up. And it's a time for you to speak to the board, not for the board to engage with you. So first on the agenda is Lucas Johnson.
When the town first, passed the ordinance, I approved it, I supported it. I thought it did a very good job of protecting both the public and the people who are soliciting. Well, I can't support the changes that you're wanting to make to it for several reasons. First reason is this. Number one, it doesn't solve the problem. It pushes the people to the outside of the town so that we don't see them. Hiding the problem doesn't make it go away. We need to be helping people, and that's what we need to be looking at. Number two, the second part of it says that we want to pass an ordinance against the obstruction of traffic. There is already an ordinance for that, a law for that under the state. It is in fact a class 2 misdemeanor that you can get up to 60 days in jail for. I don't know why we're trying to add one when there's already one on the books as a state's law. Third part of that is that it gives the chief of police and the town manager the ability to determine whether a fine which is levied for breaking the law is taken or not, or whether it can be absolved simply because they decide that they want to make a decision otherwise. The police and the town manager do not have judicial powers. Under the law, the police arrest someone, then it goes to the court system. Prosecutor decides whether it's prosecuted or not based on the evidence from the arrest. From there, it goes to the court, and a judge and jury determine the innocence or the guilt. And therefore, I don't see how we can talk about determining innocence or guilt by the chief of police or the town manager. I've got nothing against either one of them. I think they're great people, and I don't think we'd have a problem, except that the principle is that I don't think it's legal. The other part of that is that a third time of breaking this ordinance within a 12-month period becomes a class 3 misdemeanor, which means now we have, from the way I read this, we have the police chief or the town manager determining whether a person is charged with a class 3 misdemeanor for which you can get up to 20 days in jail. We got a problem there. It needs to be done through the court system, not through a quasi judicial system, which I don't believe is, I believe can be challenged under the law. And I don't think that the town wants to get challenged that way. I think it would be bad for the town and bad for the law. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, everyone. My name is Ben Guinea. I live in West Sylva. And I wanted to talk a little bit about your plans to change this ordinance here, clearly. But first, I wanted to mention something that's come up. It was listed in the paper. It's something about these public hearings, having a group of citizens here addressing the folks that they elected. I've heard Mayor Phillips refer to it as just for fun or kind of a joke. It's not a joke. It's something that's really serious. It's a time for citizens to talk directly to to the folks that they elected. And sometimes you sit up there and you hear ridiculous things like, a couple beers is going to cause looting and urine and feces everywhere. But then someone comes up and says, hey, maybe we should change something so people don't have to have alcohol in church at the same time. And boom, it happens right there. So it's really important. It's a bedrock of democracy. It's super important to have these kind of meetings. So I just want to get that off my chest. So as far as the ordinance goes, I don't know, for some reason, Mayor Phillips has this vendetta against people on the street asking for money. I just don't get it. It was the first thing, the most important thing that came up when you got elected. Why? And then the rest of the board just kind of caved right on in. We have a problem in this country. It's not just something about in Sylva. It's widespread. This is a country that has vast amount of income disparity. There's a woman who lives, who sleeps on a couch or sleeps on a bench right outside the library. I see her every morning. And yet right down the street, there's someone who has their Porsche in a bubble. The Porsche has more housing than this poor woman on the bench. And so, you know, it's one thing to kind of try and address issues and solve problems for the town. It's a whole other thing to start to go after people, after citizens, after folks, and make folks that have a hard life, make their life even harder, especially if you're gonna try and throw them in jail, try and make them pay fines that they can't pay. And especially when this is not that big of a problem, there are much bigger problems that this town could address. So I want you to think about that when you're all are voting on this. If you want to change it, if you want to change it a third time, I mean, where are you gonna go with this? When does it end? You know, do you have people just like being just thrown, you know, you're driving on the county line? What are we gonna do? You ever seen Rambo? I mean, you can see, you know, this is not where these things go. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of share that with y'all tonight. And I think I've gone over a minute, so I guess there's no free margarita. Thank you. Yeah.
Let go of the show.
And I would just like to remind the public that personal attacks are not permitted on public hearing or public comments.
I'll start. All right. So everybody, Jess Juleja here again. I'm gonna do a mix of Luther and Ben's approach. Number one, the bill, the proposed ordinance changes, they don't address the problem at hand. We all know, again, I've already gone over this. I don't feel like going in depth. Everybody knows my position, right? I work with the homeless. We all see the homeless. I'm talking to property owner, business owner, property owner, and trying to beg you guys to have sympathy for people who don't have somewhere to lay their head at night. I was at Harold's the other day, just trying to make small talk with the cashier and said, well, it's nice, it's not so hot outside. And you know what she told me with not an ounce of joy in her face working at that job? That some people, they aren't so lucky that it's hard for them to stay warm in the winter. And so she's grateful to keep that warm weather around as long as she can. So there's real people suffering. It's a hard time out here. I don't know what y'all are going through. I mean, I'm sure I know everybody's stocks are bad and all of this, but some people can't afford food. Some people can't afford to get to work. Like, again, I'm not gonna sit here and beg for y'all to have sympathy for people that you clearly don't. The ordinance doesn't solve the problem, even if you don't have empathy for the people. It just kicks the can and moves them down the road very literally. And then furthermore than that, going to Ben's point, the fact that it seems like there's a pattern behavior of y'all coming here where you haven't had a meeting with all of you, because you're supposed to report when 3 or more of you meet together, but you all seem to be on the same plan of someone's going to introduce it, someone's going to jump in pretty quick and say, hey, let's have this motion. Because then no other motion can be brought up. And then the person who makes the motion is the only one who can rescind it. So we can't even, would this thing have even been passed if that bureaucracy had not been in place and been utilized? So I didn't go to the school of governance. I don't know how it all works. I'm just trying to, somebody who's got to keep up. We got the homeless person, the homeless director begging for people to help in the newspaper. We got newspaper articles about homeless people that we're giving pseudo names to when we all know who it is. Some of us have called anybody called the cops in here on Maria? Okay, so like, again, it doesn't solve the problem. Let's maybe try to do something that y'all got elected to do. Thank you. Thank you.
Someone else signed up. Hey,
May I?
Yeah.
I arrived a little late, I'm sorry. Good evening, I'm Sarah Hirsch, 60 Schulman Street, downtown Sylva. And I'm going to ask, first of all, that you suspend this vote tonight. There's a bunch of reasons. I'm not using any notes. I'm just speaking from my heart. One reason is that this meeting wasn't duly noticed. For example, the documents I received, like every other citizen, had the violations, the possible things that people could do to get in trouble as people who might be soliciting on the street, but it never identified in the definitions section. If you look at your paperwork, it's blank. So today, I spent a good part of my day looking online, trying to find the definitions of solicitation. Couldn't find it. Not there. My daughter's a lawyer. She couldn't find it either. I asked some other people. Nope. So I came down, did you already cover this?
I called me to see what you forgot.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So I came down, spoke to Miss Amanda, and I asked to see the big blue book that is state law that has to be provided to all constituents. I asked to see that. It wasn't in there, and she very kindly notified me that it wouldn't be because of the change in code and that the revisions that are happening right now. Not online, not in the book. The definition of solicitation was not provided to the public. And so I would ask on that basis alone, if not many others that I could name, that this be suspended. Other issues is that the actual definition of solicitation, which I finally was provided with kindly, and I mean no disrespect to Miss Amanda, is that it basically is so general that it could apply to anybody selling or soliciting anything on any street. For example, if I wanted to have a yard sale or sell lemonade or bracelets on a street, it's so broad that it would apply to anyone. And yet I suspect that the intention is not to apply it to everyone. It's to apply it to certain individuals in our community who are down on their luck for whatever reason. And maybe we're thinking of a particular person or persons that are really aggravating. That may be true. But the problem is that you put in a law like that, an ordinance, it will apply to everyone. And it's going to cause so many ripple effects that you do not intend and we do not want. And as a taxpayer of this town, we own 2 properties in this town, right downtown, both of them. We don't want to pay for a lawsuit. So please suspend this vote. It is ill-considered. Everything else you have in writing that you did in February 8th covers this. This is redundant and unnecessary, and I ask that you please suspend. Thank you.
Thank you. Good.
Mayor, I do want to point out that the reason the definition is not included in the agenda packet is because it's not changing from what was adopted February 8th. But Ms. Hirsch is right. What was not, it's not online, it's not in the code because the code is being updated.
We're on board, having discussion about the matter.
Yeah, I'd like to say, I appreciate all the comments and I've talked to a lot of people about this in recent weeks and, I personally don't see, the benefit to bring these changes to this ordinance for a lot of the reasons mentioned here. And, I don't think it looks good on our town. I think that, I think that, you know, my heart as a leader here, and I think the heart behind the board here to serve this town is to make a town that is as welcoming as possible and has laws to protect and serve. And this ordinance is, the ordinance we have in place is sufficient.
Thank you.
And so, that's been the conclusion I've come to after talking to a lot of people, stakeholders, constituents, and I would encourage our board to either put this off or consider leaving the ordinance as it is. So that's kind of where I've come to on this.
Okay. So this time we entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, and say aye. Aye. Vote by like sign, carries. And I missed an item, I did not, get our mayor's or manager's report.
Just a couple of things. So applications are coming in for the Economic Development Board. We'll put those before the board at our work session for discussion and vote on the ones that we've received so far at our October meeting. The new estimated substantial completion date for the restroom is September the 30th. We should have a contract soon from Bartlett Operations for the Bryson Park Pavilion. And as Commissioner Jones said, the port in place rubber has started, the installation started this week in the playground. Unfortunately, we did not receive the Carter grant for Pinnacle Park this funding cycle. We were told that we had a good application to submit it again in the future, but there were lots of applications across the state. So ours unfortunately just wasn't selected, but we'll submit it again. And we did submit the Recreational Trails Program grant, or Equinox submitted on behalf of the town last Friday. Employee flu shots are scheduled for October the 8th, and that's all I have tonight, unless there are any questions. Thank you.
Good. Moving on to new business, have a presentation from Marty Ash on the proclamation for Constitution Day.
My topic is a little bit different than what we've been discussing here tonight. But what I want to say is that the proclamation that I asked Mayor Phillips underlines our right to do this, our right to come before a town board and do this. Mayor Phillips and Town Board, I'm a member of the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution. DAR is a nonprofit, non-political volunteer women's service organization dedicated to promoting patriotism, preserving American history, and securing America's future through better education for our children. On September 17th, our Constitution will be 237 years old. Although not the oldest Constitution in the world, it is one of the oldest that is still in use today. In 1955, the DAR petitioned the U.S. Congress to dedicate September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week to recognize this important document. Congress adopted the resolution, and on August the 2nd, 1956, President Eisenhower signed it into Public Law 915. The celebration's goals are threefold: to encourage the study of historic events that led to the framing of the Constitution in September 1787, to inform the people that the Constitution is the basis of America's great heritage and the foundation of our laws and our way of life. And finally, to emphasize the U.S. citizens' responsibility to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. The United States is a republic that respects its democracy and rights afforded to us through this historic document. This evening, I asked Mayor Phillips to sign a proclamation which continues to proclaim September the 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and which asks all citizens to reaffirm these ideals of our Constitution. Thank you.
Thank you. We need a motion and vote to do this. I entertain a motion that we approve the proclamation for Constitution Week, be the 17th through the 23rd of this month.
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion, we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. All opposed by like sign, the motion carries. Congratulations. Next is Miss Kathy Stillwell Gibson to speak on the Sylva Webster reunion.
Actually, about the cruise in. We spoke here before proposing cruise in on the 21st of September. We've done a few revisions to that, and we have met with a representative from the Sylva Police Department, and they've approved our route. Please. What we're going to do is pull out of the Save More lot, which used to be the old Rebel Restaurant, which, back in 1969 was a classic place to gather up and then cruise downtown Sylva. And that's what we want to put. It's been done a couple of times. We're just doing this as an adjunct to an alumni festival of graduates from 1961 to 91. That festival is happening outside of town. And so this is just an adjunct to that we would come downtown with classic cars, and we're inviting rat rods too. We're going to come down from the Save More lot, merge onto 107, come down Mill Street, proceed down to Dillsboro, make a left at the Jarrett House and Costas, and go along the railroad track, and then come back up towards Sylva, past the fountain, and come all the way down Main Street. Then we're going to make a U-turn and come down Mill Street again, past the fountain, and proceed to parking at the Lazy Hiker parking lot, which the town manages and has approved for us to park there. I'm a little uneasy. We're getting a lot of applicants, and there's only about maybe 26 spaces there. If we, I don't really have a suggestion if we max that out. I guess we'll just continue down the street and see where there's parking elsewhere. We've asked the representative from the town board here to, we are having music. I'm sorry, let me say this. We are having music come out the back of the Lazy Hiker. They're just going to play some recorded music, American Graffiti, until the cars are parked. And shortly after that, if we can get a representative from the board here. I understand that there's a festival on Back Street, which, is going to continue to 7. So we're going to be parked at 6, and we're hoping someone can come and welcome the crowd and explain to them about the social district and the use of the social district. Then we're going to lower the music and encourage folks to buy their social district cup. And we're providing free entertainment for anybody that's on the street up at Martha's place. We're actually hiring the band from 7 to 9. And it's a band that played here on Back Street not too long ago. Dashboard Blue, Will Springer being an alumni. We did a little revision on the offering of coffee. We're working with Blue Ridge Bootleg. And we really thought we'd like to have the coffee right out on the street. After talking to them and the Sylva Police, we've decided to just put a sign on the street, not obstructing anyone from walking, that would say, come inside for a complimentary cup of coffee, or they're also offering a discount. All these alumni will have orange wristbands on, so they're offering a discount to those folks. But the Blue Ridge Coffee is going to put us a dispenser of coffee down in the Lazy Hiker parking lot where there would be seating and a canopy. So we kind of changed it up a little bit. I don't think I missed anything. Are there any questions?
Don't you know where orange armbands?
Orange and black was the color. Yeah. We're really proud to be out there at Smoky Mountain, and they're welcoming us at the football game on Friday night, which we're going to introduce a chant that we did years ago, that we are the Eagles, and then change it to when the boys are coming out on the field, that we are the Mustangs. So there'll be no contention there. But thank you. Thanks for your cooperation.
There's no action for the town to take on this. Next thing on the agenda is the budget amendment. Everybody's had some time to speak and think about this. Okay. What is the pleasure of the board? Somebody like to make a motion? to abolish it or to approve it?
I make a motion that we deny the revisions in the solicitation order that we have in hand now.
A motion. Do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, and say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, by like sign. Motion carries and ordinance change is abolished. Special event, uncompleted kitchen. Bernadette Peters will give us a.
Sure, that request is from Jenna Krantz with Uncomplicated Kitchen, that she be able to, have alcohol served at Bridge Park during her fundraiser that she has every year, which is a croquet tournament. She has other vendors as well.
Need a motion to vote. Is there a motion that we approve that? Okay, we have a motion, we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, by like sign, the motion carries. We have a similar request, the same thing for award funding and heating, is that correct, Bernadette?
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna try a motion that we approve that one as well. Have a motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, by like sign, the motion carries. Special events, street closing. Oh, yeah, this is the resolution where we state that there's 4 things that will close Main Street for. Street Street, WCU Homecoming Parade, Christmas Parade, and bring it up to Main. Resolution by the town for the town. Entertain a motion that we approve that. We have a motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, by like sign, the motion carries. We have, facade grant improvement, Bernadette.
Yes. So the design committee and Main Street Board have already approved these 3 requests for a facade grant program. And they're asking if you would entertain and approve them as well. The first one is Crystal Pace's application for Sylva 462 West Main Street. It will include a decorative space between the crosswalks that includes planters.
Yeah, we didn't have that one on there.
Oh, we're taking that. Okay,
Yeah.
Take that off. If not,
Right.
Okay,
It'll need to go
gotcha.
next.
Now I have 2. Okay, so the other one is Kent Cranford's application, which will include repair and painting of the Mill Street facing wall at a cost of $9,100, which includes a $3,000 maximum grant match. And this is where the Public Art Committee is planning on doing an outdoor assets mural. So that'll be $9,100 less that we have to raise in grant funding in order to prep that space. And then the second one, and I guess you can vote on both these together if you like, or we can do them separately.
We have them in group before.
Okay, great. That one is for Baxley's Chocolates, 546 West Main Street. It'll include masonry repair, filling hollow clay blocks, moisture sealing, and replacement of parapet caps at a cost of $47,500. And that would include a $3,000 maximum match from the facade grant program. You have any questions?
Nope. Anybody have a question? Entertain a motion that we approve both of them. Motion, do we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, by like sign, the motion carries. Fee schedule amendment presented by our city manager.
Yes, so proposed for Bridge Park fees for alcohol vendors, food trucks, and vendor tents. Staff's proposing these increases because of the types of events that are happening at Bridge Park, what it's being rented for, and it's changing primarily to being used for large events. So the park rental fee will remain the same at $50 with a discount for town residents, but we're proposing changing the alcohol fee to $25 per vendor. The previous fee was $50 altogether. The town board will continue to approve alcohol requests. Staff's also suggesting a flat fee for up to 6 food trucks of $75. In the past, food trucks were approved with a separate permit fee for $30 to $65 each based off the type of event. And the final suggested change is adding a $100 fee if the park rental includes vendor tents. This is the rate, a flat rate for up to 30 tents, which is what we feel like we can feasibly put on the grass for most of these events. So these fees will help offset maintenance costs and electricity, but the fees reflect the type of events the park is now being rented for.
Motion is over for approval.
Yes.
Motion that we approve that.
I'll make that motion.
Motion, do we have any discussion? Favor raise your hand, say aye. All opposed, the like sign, motion carries. The last thing, the added item to the agenda is the resolution that we send to for the county commissioners approval, change the distribution of funds from the ABC board to be 50-50 for the next 5 years from the day they pass the approval. What kind of motion we do that?
Make that motion.
Have a motion, we have any discussion?
So we don't have a motion to approve, or we don't have a resolution prepared to approve. But we can prepare one that you can go ahead and direct us.
Yeah.
Just direct staff to send.
Yeah, we're asking them to create it and send it to the county in time for them to pass it on the 17th.
Okay.
So we have a motion. Does that motion need to be offered? Right. Any discussion about it? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. All opposed, by like sign, the motion carries. And unless I'm missing something, I entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn, we have any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. All opposed, by like sign. Stand adjourned.